Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. Ada for giving my MIL a fake copy of my house key and exposing her on Christmas dinner. I'd want to begin by stating that I am a 34-year-old girl who married my husband, who is 37 years old a year ago. His mother is intrusive and unpleasant in her behavior. It's just who she is, as my in-laws put it, and she can't help but be who she is. My husband and I have just purchased a new house. The fact that she had an emergency key to our old apartment and had walked in on us being intimate twice, but my husband didn't think it was a big deal, made me question her trustworthiness. So I sent her a fake key, after she kept pushing, and she had a smug look on her face when I handed it to her. She had a smug look on her face when I hand-delivered it to her. After a few days, my mother-in-law called me out on the fact that I had given her a forged copy of the house key at Christmas dinner. Then, while I was on the defensive, I asked her how she found out, and she said that she found out when. She came over at 4 p.m., when my husband and I were away from home. This was something I reminded her of. Have you not made a promise to yourself that you would not use it until absolutely necessary? In other words, you sought to enter the building when there was no emergency, and you violated your promise to us. She became pink in the face, and the other members of her family started to look, and some of them even laughed at her for the expression she was making. She sprang out of her chair and rushed into the kitchen, where she had a big breakdown that I'm sure the next-door neighbors heard. Honestly, I've never seen a 60-plus-year-old woman have such a temper tantrum. Obviously, dinner was not pleasant, and both my husband and his sister were looking at me with disdain. I was in the car with my husband when he started going off on me. He said I had lied to him, twisted his words, embarrassed him, and exposed his mother, and he would not have let me get away with it if he had known. We got into a quarrel, and he's demanding that I apologize to his mother for my indiscreet behavior and for ruining Christmas dinner for the whole family. Ada? Etta. So this popped up suddenly, and I thought I'd show my spouse some very helpful remarks. I discovered this only a few minutes ago, but when he saw it, he became enraged and stated I was crazy to speak about his family on the internet. He requested my phone in order to remove it, but I refused and walked upstairs to my bedroom. I'd never seen him that upset, and I honestly didn't expect he'd respond like way. But thank you for your encouragement. It means a lot to me. If I'm able, I'll provide an update. Thank you once again. Story 2. Ada for accusing my daughter's mother of making me a deadbeat. So, I'm 44 years old and in a comfortable financial position. For my wife, 33 female, and our 2 children, money isn't a problem since I'm at the top of my company's hierarchy. When I was 17, I wasn't the kind of man you want to be your child's dad. My own father was a terrifying figure in my life. I was on the edge of failing my senior year of high school when this happened. If that wasn't enough of a blow, my high school girlfriend Sophia deserted me when I was caught by the police one night, and then migrated with her father to Edinburgh, Scotland, to attend university there. Sophia was expecting a child but didn't inform me. During the time I wasn't looking for her in Scotland, she never got in touch with me. I feel I had a legal right to know what was going on. Ironically, her leaving compelled me to reorganize my life, which resulted in excellent academic performance at university. She gave birth to my daughter Inessa when we were both 18 years old, which was a happy coincidence. Inessa, on the other hand, was well aware of my identity and decided to contact me, claiming that I was her biological father. Sophia and Inessa had returned to the country, although to a new location, and I had flown out to meet with them. After she contacted me, I was shown a picture of her, and she reminded me a lot of my mother, so no need for a DNA test. I avoided going to her mother's house and instead spent all of my time with her, getting to know her and discovering what I'd been missing out on. But here's the kicker. I gave my children the best upbringing possible, while she struggled with health issues her whole life. Following her father's death, Sophia and her family had a terrible time in Scotland, and she and her mother were forced to temporarily flee to Russia. They're doing well today since my wife, Inessa, has a fantastic profession in the same field that I started in. It was a source of irritation for me. I had the opportunity to assist her. She might have gone to one of the renowned schools where my children are educated. Every birthday and Christmas, she may have gotten gifts such as new shoes, clothes, and games to keep her entertained. She didn't even have her father to guide her through the process of learning to drive. I even fell behind on child support payments. It disturbs me that I didn't treat her with the respect she deserved. When I saw her mother for the second time, I felt uneasy. I explained what I had written in a calm manner, and my daughter compelled me to go since her mother was ready to cry. I met Inessa the day after I left, and we've spoken every night since then, but we've never brought up the subject of my departure. In response, my wife branded me a jerk and demanded an explanation, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't completely wrong. In any case, my wife recently informed me that she was pregnant, and she discussed the issue with me in terms of what would happen if I died before my child was born, and I've felt like a huge jerk ever since, because Sophia did a much better job with Inessa than any other single parent I knew, including my own father. Update. Given the fact that I've had the chance to see my daughter Inessa and her mother, Sophia, once again, I felt it would be appropriate to provide an update. I traveled to Inessa's hometown as part of a work trip, and she agreed to meet up with me there. While Inessa was getting ready, I went over to Sophia's house and had a nice conversation with her. In response to the majority of you and my wife, I wrote Sophia expressing my sorrow for what had happened. My regretted not being able to be there to support her, and Inessa was expressed to her by me. Nonetheless, I expressed my gratitude to her for doing an exceptional job, which she had done better than I could have done before I was able to reclaim my life. Her fortitude in dealing with all she has had to cope with much exceeds mine, and I'm grateful to her for that. When she saw that I was sobbing again, she embraced me and told me that she had forgiven me for what I had done. I was older when she apologized and said that she had been afraid of my father at the time and did not want to ruin my life by alerting me that I was an adult. Because what really important is Inessa's happiness, I informed her that it didn't matter what I said, and she agreed. When I went out to dinner with my friend Inessa earlier this year, I gave her an old image of my mother as a present, which she first mistook for a portrait of herself since the two photographs are so similar in appearance. My story continued, and I told her about my own abusive father and how it had hurt me so much that I hadn't been able to be there for her because I had been under the impression that a father's responsibility was to constantly support, lead, educate, and love his child, and failing to do so implied that the father was a failure. While I expressed my regret for making her mother weep, I recognized that she was a greater mother and father to her than I could have been at the time of the incident. She had also forgiven me, and it was the sweetest feeling in the world when she hugged me and called me Dad for the first time. She only been calling me Dad before, which was still adorable because of her combination of a Russian and Scottish accent. She had also forgiven me, and it was the sweetest feeling in the world when she hugged me and called me Dad for the first time. Although I had reserved a hotel room for the night, Inessa urged that I spend the night with her and Sophia instead. We ended up staying up for hours viewing old home movies of Inessa as a child, which she managed to transfer from videotape to digital. And despite the fact that I couldn't be there for any of it, I felt better for having missed out on everything. Inessa is a wonderful person. After saying goodbye to Inessa and telling her she could come to me whenever she needed anything, I told her that if she ever needed anything, she just simply ask and I will fly out to see her the very next day. I returned home and was greeted by my wife, who informed me that I had done the right thing by apologizing to both of them, that I should see her for Christmas, and that our children would be fine without me for a period of time. As a consequence, I'd want to convey my appreciation to you for suggesting that I apologize on my behalf. The burden has been removed, and I can now be there for Inessa without feeling guilty about what I am doing. What a fantastic experience that is.